Alright, everybody, welcome back. This is going to be our game of Ray Sensei Phoenix versus Unicorn Blitz.
And it's a really interesting game. I think that the format can be very fast. I don't know if it is generally speaking, but there are some decks that try to get under you pretty good, and this is certainly one of them. And I'm hoping it matches up positively against Ray Sensei. Um, Mid game or go long strategies just don't really have enough oomph to get through. So this we'll see where this is. Okay, so watch who kills himself.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a deck that's gonna give this give this Ray Sensei deck trouble, it's gonna be something that comes out quick and fast like this.
Okay, great victory, perfectly fine card. What am I looking for? These are all fine. I think I want either a more force efficient personality or a holding. You may put attachments in your discard. So when he's going down, let me proclaim. I'm looking for a lane of immortality. I'm keeping the event because I think I like the event, but I'm not really sure. I've never really played with this event before. Okay, well, no holding, but we get one more cycle, so let's do that thing. I maybe should just be cycling this other guy because the deck has such a high saturation of personalities. Uh, but the risk of not having a guy too high. Okay, so glimpses perfectly. So Samurai Cast gets the one progressive. That's what decks do. Though I've seen a lot of progressive and I've seen a lot of traditionalists, I actually don't see the event as much as I thought I would. Maybe it's because those cards aren't quite as good as the allegiances were.
The old
But I
Allegiance
mean,
event lets you get 3 copies too, remember?
yeah, let you get everything out to get really extra thinning. Okay, and we're gonna just go down. We're burning a gold. We go up to 6 honor, which of course we forgot to mark at the start of the game because that's how we are.
Hey, hey.
And deliver my club, so I draw 2 cards and back to you.
So we have a decision to point here about whether or not we buy a guy. Our goal is pretty solid, so we can go JPI Silvermine with a 1-for-1, and then leave the guy in province. He'll take it, and then we have to hope to flip another guy next turn. Um, like this plus this on this specific guy mounts a pretty credible defense. So there is an argument for just throwing him out there and trying to just get him. On the other hand, he's cavalry, so we can't really get him at all. So what we're gonna do is just drop straight down and buy gold. I've done blitz testing with this deck before, and won by buying a guy on 2. But I'm gonna try doing a little bit more development this time. Our game plan is to lose a province anyway, so I don't think it super matters.
Okay, so I flipped another great victory. So this is pretty neat. So my first 2 is going to be just trigger my 2 great victories. I really want to take a province this turn, which I really wanted to do anyway.
Yep.
Opens to you, my friend.
Big pass.
So here it's pretty straightforward. We got the British Scout, which we're going to convert right to personality, which makes the guy here. So we got 6 force. That's pretty good. Then we just throw ourselves at the province, and we'll go ahead and play it as an engage. So this is the card that, guided me looking at blitz strategies a lot. This is one of my favorite cards in the set when we talked about it in the set review. I just got him, and so it's just this great card. And I just use it here to get my contentious terrain. And that's sort of a nice little combo there of the Berenger Scout making a guy to get contentious terrain, which will put us to a nice even 8-4, which is where we want to be.
Yep, that'll put you at 8, and I pass through.
But even more, we have another imminent victory. So each of our guys is going to get +3/+3, which is, that's really powerful.
Yeah,
So
that ain't
these are
nothing.
cards that I've never played before. And turning a dynasty card into a +1/+1 right here looks like it might be really good. Because now I've got 2 6/4 dudes.
Yep.
And I flush these cards because I want more glimpses and more imminent victories type things.
Alright, so this isn't the worst. It's not the best. It's not the worst.
Now you can see my right hand really stalled, and that's one of the downsides. I might be playing this card a bit too heavily.
So we are going to pass opens.
Me too.
Then drop it. I guess we can trigger our blessing now or later. I guess I do that instead of passing, but very philosopher-y of me. And we're 7 gold total, so just these 2 holdings will cover it. And gain 3 to 9. Pass back to you.
Alright, well, I finally flipped a holding, which I like as an idea, but maybe isn't important. He does have 1 farmland, it looks like, so my Kea Taco is, cheaper and better. I go ahead and pass him up open, and he's gonna maybe probably attach some spells.
Yep. So we'll start with a Burning Spirit on Tenkala.
Sure. Pass.
And a Fire Kami's Greed on the same.
Pass.
And we'll ascend him as well.
Wow. It's a lot of stuff.
That's the hope. So there you go.
Okay. Are you all set?
I'm all set.
So I got 2 6-Force personalities, so I get to go for 2 provinces.
Yep, and I have no defense. 2 is less than 3, so we're not losing the game this turn.
So he can't use Ray Sensei on his Shugenja. I actually don't really have a good hand for taking 2, so I just use a cavalry over and just take 1. Which is really disappointing.
So I get it, and this is pretty much as good as it gets. Now there's no way that he can't threaten both next turn, but hopefully we'll get set up. I mean, our hand is all kinds of set up.
And get rid of these guys. Look for some more fate manipulative things. Oh, so close! Well, that was good. He's still going to flip a samurai, so he'll have to commit his big powerful unit to battle. And then that's one of the advantages of playing the Blitz deck, is I give myself a little bit of a hope that he just kind of whiffs.
So we're going to banish to start. None of these are exactly what I want, so we'll take this one. And then take a shuffle, and action to you.
I mean, it's all passive. I'm not the sort of deck that gets to do things in the open face.
So again, we'll straighten herself, and then I'm going to banish again. Here we go. Is there another card? No, we just take this. And shuffle. And then I'm going to play a game of dice. And attach Final Ruin to our guy here.
Boo.
And then just straight jam out Void.
So he's got reach 6, so he'll bring Spirit up, so he gets to kill a thing. Tough stuff.
Yep, so we'll be 7 chi. So all of his guys are within range, provided he doesn't suit up in any way. Which is a big provision, I admit. And then 4 gold to buy our other 2. Is there a better way to bow? 2. Yeah, so we'll just do it like this. And get our guy another gold. We have 2 provinces. 3 go to my hand. Our farms straighten, and we pass.
Okay, well, flip the glimpse, thermo, those are all cards that we like. But of course, begin with a suit-up. Now it does put me 2, but 2 is an okay place to be.
Sure. I, on the other hand, am just on pass here.
So he has 1 on, but well, you could straighten your Genma.
Sure.
So he's got some cavalry guys, but they don't really do much. If they don't have spells and they're not a samurai, they're not really relevant cards to us. So there's an argument to say they just try to get in there, sneak a province, using cavalry maneuvers, sleaziness. But that's dangerous because it puts us then in a spot where we have to run to his unit for sure next turn. I think what I like to do is try to, if I assign for 2, it's to go defend one so I can caval away and he kills the card for sure. Ugh. Maybe I can force the action at the thing there. I'm just trying to work out my offensive here. A lot of that plays to the board. The real key is to just don't get got. Don't get got by what he's doing. Don't just get blown out by what's clearly there in play. So, goes to 7, as they say. So I can go assign, he assigns against that. I get cavalry over. Okay. So the assignment here, this guy sees one.
Okay. So I'll assign to defend against the Beringer Scout with my big unit here.
Okay. So I'm going to go. I have a number of engages.
Okay. At which battle?
I have to figure out how to do it. Yeah, I don't know if there's a good way. So what we'll do the engagement at Kyoto's battle.
Okay.
And Beringer Scout runs away to get over there.
Sure, and I pass.
Okay, so that's done. And now we will do Sword to Towers.
Okay.
Except it's not absent, so I don't have a guy there. So my plan was to box in here, but I don't believe I can take that action because my box is not absent engage, and I do not have presence there. So, if I had just assigned what happens. So I think we have to back up a moment because I did not fully think through the ramifications of my cards.
Fine.
So I have to just assign in this way.
Okay, well, I still defend against the 2 guys.
Okay, so I still run this guy over there to take that province for sure.
Okay.
And then we do your battle, so you get first engage.
So I can Burning Spirit myself.
Okay, and then it is your action.
So I have to decide if I want to eat the blade. I think I just put him to 0 force. So to think about what he can do here, if he has like a ranged, like a melee 2, if he's got like a Unholy Strike, then that's like, I should play this card. But that's really fatalistic, and I think I lose the game anyway at that point. I mean, he's clearly got something because he wouldn't just attack into my giant idiot with his guy unless he had he had a play here.
That's true.
So he's 6, 7, 8. So I can't even do it. So I will. So I can Final Ruin his attachment for -2, and then my presumed next action is straight and Final Ruin his guy. But then he still has 6 force. So is there a card that punishes him? I think it's safer to just 0 him. So he's 3, 6, 7, 8. I can put him to 1 force. So I'll put you to 1 force.
Yeah, so that he made the correct play. So we were hoping he would go with a Ruin on the blade, and then I would use this card, and then follow up with this card, and win the game. But he did not walk into it the way that I had hoped. Sometimes you have to put your opponent to the test if he makes the right decision. And there was a real agony there for him. There's an actual chance that he does something like Burning Spirit as his first or Final Ruin as his first. He might not jump right into Fire coming. But since he did, I will run home with my Stoneforge blade.
Sure.
Because now it's just not worth investing any more racers. Then I go ahead and drop on down. Do you have any things in your discard pile? You do not. So we will buy this guy and proclaim back up to 4. And then buy a remote temple. And flush this guy. Glimpse, so I draw 2 cards. And table to you. And so now the real pressure is on.
Well, that is not
Well,
helpful.
those are some
So,
good draws, actually.
no help from there. So we're going to start with our box and look at top 3. So we found a spell, but it's not one that we want. But we're going to draw it anyway to get it out of our deck. And then immediately to discard as a cost. No.
You
no
draw
discard.
first, then
Yeah.
discard.
So I show you Strength of the 5th ring, and then immediately discard it.
Oh, if only I had Bryn, I could. He'd be full force for the.
So I strain Genma, and
Missed
then
opportunity.
I'm gonna play Sorrowful Prayer, targeting my Jade Ascension only. No, Jade Ascension banish. So what we're doing, all we're doing here is we're shuffling our deck, because we
Shuffle,
know
shuffle,
what's on top,
shuffle.
and pretty much we have one shot to draw off of Void to get some gas here to get. So we Void to draw, and we get no help. So we lobby.
Which I felt like you could have done last turn, but didn't. Did I miss that? I might have missed that.
No, because I used my guy
Get
straight.
banished. Yeah.
Yeah, I banished twice. It didn't quite work out. And then we're gonna discard this other Sorrowful Prayers here to draw a card. Okay, that's sort of help. And we got another Jade Ascension.
That's a really good card.
I'm not sure it's enough here. Hell, right? Makes a copy. And then we drop, resolve our blessing, and draw a card. Hope for the best.
Okay, we flip Journeys in Siege. That's not going to do anything for us because he's not running terrain. He's got some Brins. So we trigger our Dark Audience. That's good. It'll let us get another attachment. I think we're just looking for some cheap cost attachments. Well, I mean, I guess I could go big here. Well, let's take a look at my first instinct was to just do like light cavalry, Stormforge Blade, keep it cheap, and I think I stand by that because the more expensive the attachment, the more forceful it is. All I'm really doing is getting more value off its final runs.
So you can have
Those are my
you can have the Cav.
okay. So to my hand that goes. So that's my first in the phase.
Yep, and I've got another Jade Ascension to play.
I will lose a point of honor. I keep losing 2 points of honor. That was a mistake. I had to play my Lane of Immorality, so then my next 2 actions are going to be just put down some light infantry. So I'll just put like 1 here and 1 there. Seems perfectly fine.
I'll straighten my guy.
I guess I should. Do I put them both on? You used your fair. I mean, I put one on the Barrier Scarf for sure. Do I put another one here? Just double them up. I think this is what I like actually. Just double them up on my highest force units.
Okay.
Yep. And then I've got a remote temple that I'm thinking about blowing to get a ring. And yeah, let's do that. Let's go get a ring. Just to put it in the hand. I like Ring of Earth. So that is in my hand. And then trigger my Journeys in Siege just because motions are fun to go through. Any more opens before I fill myself at the province?
I do not believe so, no.
So all my dudes attack.
Yep. All my dudes defend.
PHQ.
I will Burning Spirit up my guy.
I will new Cav tact. put 2 followers on guy with Stoneforge Blade.
Sure. I pass engage.
Pass engage.
Okay, so we're faced with the same decision we made last time, except this time he's got multiple big units. But our best course is still going to be to fire Kami's down his Shinjo Okio.
Okay. So we're going to go use our progressive to send his unit home. His 2 force. So I will discard a Inspire Yojimbo to send you home.
Yep, and I think that's just game there.
Because I grabbed the Ring of Earth to prevent a move back. So he really needed an interrupt to keep his guy there because his move back effects are turned off. That's I grabbed Earth.
Yep. Yeah, and that's game. So I mean, we can thoughtless sack and kill his big unit, which is what we're setting up. But we can't beat a single send home action in this case. So we got run over, which I guess I'm not super surprised by. This is a deck that wants to go a little bit longer. Now, I've beaten Blitz with this deck before, but you really need your draws to come together, and I needed a little bit of help in my Dynasty flips that never sort of came after the first couple turns.
I had some really interesting pulls with the event plus the imminent victory with the victory cards, I guess I'll call them. So that gave me a lot of good residual force, so I was able to keep it. And this deck developed well. I got a nice Cav sleaze off. One of the strategies, in fact, I think probably the only strategy to beat the red deck is to just be faster than it. I mean, that's really. I don't know if there's any deck that can go long with it and have any real that because it draws so many more cards and it's doing such more power. Like the cards are considerably more powerful. So one of the ways to answer that, and this is something people seem to suggest in your thread that we're not capable of beating decks that we ourselves have created, which is sort of ridiculous. So I think that Blitz strategies are not maybe the best like a great answer, but I think they're like the only answer that really exists within the card pool at the time right now. And obviously they only really exist in Arc. If you're playing Strict right now, Ray Sensei is 100% the way to go.
I will point out that the list I posted and the list I've sort of been pushing out there is this Sorrowful Prayers list. I'm not convinced it's correct.
Yeah, I don't play Sorrowful Prayers. We can talk a little. I don't want it to come down to the specific cards because I think the strength of the deck is broader than I do not play.
Yeah, but I bring it up only because this game, so you saw after my game of dice, I drew 2 Sorrowful Prayers and a Strength of Fifth Ring, which in this position, all those cards look miserably bad. So, right. The prayers are to give you even more inevitability against the mid-range military decks that I think are more popular right now, but they could easily be cut and the deck would still be just fine. And then you could run something with a little bit more oomph to it in those slots.
So in that slot, I have Strategic Withdrawal, which I think probably just wins you the game here because it stops me from getting early in because you have Genmas and you can just go Genma in, Strategic Withdrawal out, Force Manipulate, save the province, buy yourself the time you need. But, I do think that the Ray Sensei deck is very good and it can be better. There are tunes and improvements to make. But within Arc, the card pool has these good decks, and you can play them out of Unicorn and Lion and Crane and Phoenix and Dragon as well. Summon Undead Champ decks, those things work, right? Shugenja play Summon Undead Champ, straight Shugenja attack, take Province, attack with 7 force, play 1 Fate card, next turn attack. I mean, those are real decks. Those are decks that exist and are good, solid, playable decks. And so it's possible that this is just where the Arc format is now, is you're either playing this super powerful sort of Ray Sensei deck if you want to go long, or you're playing a Blitz deck, or you're playing a Dishonor combo deck that can win in 3-4 turns. I think that just might be what the Arc format is now, and okay, that's how some formats shape up sometimes. So
Interestingly, though,
in that aspect, the Ray Sensei deck is acceptable because it's not too powerful, but I do think it's deleterious. I do think that you don't want your game to be built around, everybody has to have their thing done. The game has to be decided by turn 3. Like, that's not a great place for the game. I think is generally considered the accepted wisdom.
yeah, and I think it's interesting because these blitz decks, like you're not playing any coils cards. Like I'm not playing any coils cards. And when people talk about what's bad about Arc right now, they always point to coils and say
I
this
don't know if
this set
that's
was
true.
full of poison.
Unsettling Gathering isn't a so New Cav Tactics, so for so long New Cav Tactics plus Family Dojo. I don't. Yeah, I mean you're right. I'm not playing a lot of coils cards here, but
So there's some games. You see my pet deck get butt kicked, which is it's always good every once in a while.
good old basement meta game. I didn't know for sure he was playing that deck, but I thought he might.
There you go.
One of the strengths of a deck like this, of these unicorn, just super aggressive decks, is they just don't care what your opponent is doing. Like they don't have any real strategic flexibility, right? They're not. I mean, you just have to pilot them the best you can pilot them, and they're much more robotic. They're much more like I have to just buy my guys and attack because that's all I can do. Like I got nothing else.
Yeah, and I mean it's really tuned up version of that, and I think that the tack that you lifted from the Texas guys is awesome. The gaining six
Yeah, I mean
force after the first battle is just
it was really good stuff. And I think that was really cool. So I mean, sometimes you see something and you're like, hey, that looks really good, and I just went with it, and it was really good here.
for sure. So I think that's more than enough talk. If you guys have any comments or questions or concerns, leave a comment. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, etc. That'll all be up on the site someday. No promises. I have to go make a Twitter. That'll be terrible. Until then, I'm Jesse. That's Paul, and this has been Enough Talk.
Hey, Luke.